All right, let's talk about something huge and something that honestly is a massive security blind spot for so many of us: the access we give to our partners. We open the door for collaboration, which is great, but are we accidentally opening a back door for risk? Well, we're going to dig into that. I mean, think about it. We spend absolute fortunes securing our own digital castle walls. But the second we invite a partner into a shared channel, it's like we're just handing them a key. And the real question is, do we have any clue if that key is secure? For most companies, that trust is just, well, it's blind trust. And that's not nearly good enough. And this gets to the heart of a dangerous myth we all kind of tell ourselves. We think, oh, it's fine. Guest accounts are sandboxed, they're contained. But the harsh reality? No way. They can completely sidestep our traditional defenses, which creates this enormous blind spot. We're literally missing critical risk alerts coming from our partner's own systems. And that is a recipe for a disaster. So here's our game plan. We're going to start by tearing down that shared channel myth and exposing the security gap it creates. Then, and this is the good part, we'll jump into the solution. We're talking about how to engineer trust, how to actually enforce zero trust access, and then how to automate the whole thing so it's sustainable. This is the complete roadmap from problem to a real modern solution. Okay, first up, let's really dismantle this thing, because this belief is popular, but it's deeply, deeply flawed. The way we've traditionally handled B2B collaboration is based on a security architecture that is, frankly, a relic. Just think about it for a second. The way we manage B2B accounts is based on these old models that just weren't built for today's world, where everything is connected. So when a partner logs in, they're often just walking right past the very defenses you so carefully built for your own employees. And that leaves your security team with a massive and very dangerous blind spot. And this leads us right into that hidden security gap. It's a classic problem, right? The biggest threats are almost always the ones you just can't see. And in this case, those threats could be coming directly from the partners you trust the most. Let's define a key term here: AI-driven risk signals. What are these? Well, think of them as real-time security alarms. We're talking about things like a partner suddenly trying to log in from a weird location, or their credentials popping up on the dark web. For your own employees, you'd get these alerts instantly. But for your partners using the old model, nothing. Crickets. You are flying completely blind. And the consequences of being blind like that, they're severe. You're missing critical risk signals. You can't force your MFA policies on them. You have absolutely no idea if the device they're using is secure or totally compromised. The danger here is so clear. An attacker could pop a partner's account and then just move around inside your network, completely undetected. Okay, that's the problem. It is a big one. But now let's shift gears and talk about the solution. It's time to move from that position of blind trust to one of engineered, verifiable trust. We need to build a modern bridge between our organizations. And that bridge has a name. It's Entra Global Secure Access. This is the core piece of technology that makes it all possible. It's what lets you extend your security policies, your identity-driven rules, way beyond your own environment, all the way to the edge. It covers these partner connections and makes sure all that traffic is flowing through a secure encrypted fabric that you control. Let's look at what this shift actually means. By default, your system is basically in this high-risk, allow-all mode. It just ignores the security signals coming from your partners. But with a zero-trust configuration, you flip a giant switch. You go from ignore to trust and respect, and you start pulling in all those critical security signals: MFA, the vice compliance, the whole shebang. So how do we get this done? It's really a three-step process. First, you configure your outbound trust, so you're sending your security signals out. Second, you configure inbound trust, so you're listening to and respecting the signals coming in from your partners. And third, you bring in global secure access to funnel all that collaboration traffic through your secure private pipeline. So we've built the bridge. The trust foundation is there. But trust is not enough. We need verification. So now we're going to build the intelligent gatekeeper that stands on that bridge and checks everyone who tries to cross. And this policy has three key parts. First, you aim it specifically at your external partners, your guest accounts. Second, you demand strong, phish-resistant MFA for every single one of them. We're talking the gold standard here. And third, you use global secure access to act as a traffic cop, watching where they're going, which is absolutely critical for stopping data from walking out the door.
And this is the part that is it's so powerful. I want you to let this sink in. You can now require your highest standard of security on users that you don't even manage, people who aren't in your directory. You are effectively pushing your security perimeter out to include your partners. It's a total game changer.
Now, setting all this up is fantastic, but security is never a one-and-done project. It's a process, it's continuous, and this is where automation becomes your absolute best friend. It turns governance from a painful manual chore into something intelligent and, well, effortless.
The automated lifecycle here is just beautiful. Here's how it works. First, you deploy access reviews that automatically force the owners of the data to justify why a partner still needs access. Second, if a user goes inactive or an owner doesn't verify them, auto-remediation just kicks in and poof, their access is gone. IT doesn't have to lift a finger. And finally, you can use all that data to see who's really active and who's just an idle account sitting there. And that brings us to our final piece, putting it all together into a persistent, ongoing governance blueprint. This isn't just about a few settings. This is a long-term strategy, a new way of thinking about a holistic security framework that has no borders. So here's your checklist for making this last. You've got to be proactively hunting for anything weird in your logs and telemetry. You need to set a recurring calendar appointment to rotate those trust certificates. You should be regularly checking in on your partner's security posture, making sure they're keeping up their end of the bargain. And finally, you integrate everything, making global secure access and Entra ID governance work together like a well-oiled machine. Because that's the real goal, right? It's not about locking things down and stopping work. It's about enabling secure, productive collaboration. It's about a security framework that's defined by identity, not by some old-fashioned perimeter, and that protects your data everywhere, no matter who's accessing it or from where. So, I'll leave you with the same question we started with, but maybe it hits a little differently now. You've spent all this time and money securing your perimeter, but what about the bridges you've built to your partners? Are they modern, secure, and monitored? Or are they just an unmanaged backdoor waiting to be discovered?